Hi everyone, Gnev here. If you watch the new race for the world first clear of the sepulchre of the first one's raid, it's hard not to stand in awe when seeing the dedication and skill of the new generation players. The thousands of hours invested into every character, the coaches that lead while not playing the game, and the tens of thousands of people watching the race truly elevated it above just a video game. It became a business, with people losing their jobs if they don't pump enough DPS or make too many mistakes. It's amazing how much the game has evolved, but it wasn't always like that, as showed by this legend typing "Oh god, my penis feels funny" while killing Ragnaros for the first time in the world. So let's explore the history of World of Warcraft, the guilds and the people that paved the way for modern players. This is the story of the world first races in WoW. Now let me paint a picture for you. The year is 2004. PCs look like this, and Usher is on the top of the Billboard Top 100. The biggest hit of the year, however, wasn't the song. It was a little known game that came out on November the 23rd, World of Warcraft. Even though the initial release was exclusive to the US, the game took the world by storm. It was far ahead of its time, and it brought in hordes of neckbeards to be into their new home. Nobody knew what they were doing, and everyone was just playing the game and enjoying the experience, trying to figure out things for themselves instead of reading everything they need to know in an Icy Veins guide, or by watching monotone voiced neckbeards on YouTube. With the game's release, however, came two raids that everyone thought of as insurmountable obstacles: Onyxia's Lair and the Molten Core. When Vanilla Classic was released 2 years ago, it took the guild Apes only 6 days to clear both of these, but you have to think about the time when this happened. Discord wasn't a thing back then. Everyone used $5 microphones for raid call, and people could get disconnected in the middle of the fight if someone called their home phone. It was thus that Onyxia, the first raid boss to fall in the game, took 69 days of handling develops, DPSing very slowly, and throwing out many dots to handle it. If you look at the old footage from these players, it's easy to judge them for their lack of binds, clicking their spells, and their rotation knowledge, but these were the pioneers, the best of the best. Onyxia's Lair was an easy one-boss raid, however. The true challenge came from Molten Core. Rumored to be designed and programmed in only a week, Molten Core was a huge 10-boss raid that came with the release of the game, and the raid, put gently, wasn't very good, with most of the bosses being way too easy and simple. Keep in mind, however, that the players who went after them never experienced these mechanics before. Still, they braved through it all, with the US guild Conquest being the first ones to clear most of the bosses, sometimes more than one in a day. The true challenge, however, and the bragging rights that came with it, was from Ragnaros. The boss again is fairly simple for today's standards, but back then it took the players 154 days to finally down him, with our penis-tingling hero popping evasion to thank him when his friends were dying left and right. So it was that the guild Ascent took the prestigious title of being the first ones to kill Ragnaros. July the 12th, 2005. Without letting players get too relaxed, Blizzard puts out a new raid, Blackwing Lair, and this time they dramatically increased the difficulty. Most of the bosses, however, are cleared pretty quickly in the first 2 days of the release, but Nefarian would prove to be a much bigger challenge. It hurts watching these path treaders clicking their spells on their primitive UIs in glorious 480p, but the game was out for almost a year at this point, and they undoubtedly improved, even if so, ever slightly. We even see the first rendition of add-ons that the players added to their arsenals, and armed with their newfound tools, the US Guild drama was the first one to drop Nefarian after only 77 days of the raid being out. Blizzard wasn't slacking with their raid releases back then, however, and only 5 months after Blackwing Lair being released, on January 3rd, 2006, they dropped a new raid on the WoW's ever-growing population, Ahn'Qiraj. This raid was memorable for more than a few reasons, the first one being the Scepter of the Shifting Sands questline. Only to open the doors to the raid, you would have to go on an epic journey of killing bugs, dragons and sharks. But after finishing the grueling questline, you're finally awarded with the entry to Ahn'Qiraj, and with a black Qiraji battle tank, the most prestigious mount in the game. Why? Because it's black. Most of the game's bosses were killed pretty quickly after the opening of the gates, but 3 proved to be a huge challenge. Sidious, who was killed 3 months after the release, Khatoon, who was killed 113 days after the release, and Uro, who was killed a day after. The death of Khatoon would start a new era in the World First races, because the guild that killed him was no other than Nilium, led by the man Kangen himself. Six months after Ahn'Qiraj was released, Blizzard again puts out a banger of a raid, and on June 20th, 2006, they open up Naxxramas. Now at this point the game was out for a year and a half, and the players were getting better and better, proven by the guild Afterlife, who were the first ones to kill Anubrikan on the day the raid was released, and Fairlina the day after that. Naxxramas, however, proved to be a huge challenge, with only 138 guilds clearing it before the Burning Crusade came out, with bosses such as the 4 Horsemen, Sephiron, the Jump on Thaddeus, and of course Kel'Thuzad, proving to be extreme obstacles which the US guild Death and Texas would be the first one to jump over. You can see how the players' UIs improved by this point, however, how much better they played, and how much more powerful their PCs have become, being able to pull almost 20 FPS on the Kel'Thuzad fight. The WoW community was flourishing, and Nilium, again led by Kangen, would prove that they would be a force to be reckoned with, and 90 days after the raid was released, Kel'Thuzad fell. Thank you for watching. I'll be making these videos for each expansion, so consider subscribing if you'd like to see more. Also, please like the video if you enjoyed it, as it helps me out with my lack of confidence, and I'll see you in the next one.